for the invitation. Thank you for your kindness and your warmth in welcoming me, because I'm not an attorney and I'm hoping that I have some literature, because I'm not really interested in discussing the merits or not of the Akaka Bill. But let me just give you a little bit about myself. In 1992 and 1993, I was the Oahu Island Coordinator for Huli Ao Education Project. Most of you don't even know what that is unless your hair is white or older guys. You know what that is. But Huli Ao Education Project got some money from the Administration for Native Americans, like $1 million, to actually go out and do education on sovereignty, because a discussion was coming up all the time and nobody knew what we were talking about. Nobody knew anything. I didn't know anything. But as a result of working there, because the curriculum that was developed was so well done, I came to see the meaning of ea, E-A, sovereignty, life, breath, independence. So the idea was to take it from a Hawaiian perspective. What are we talking about? We're talking about what it means to have ea, as in ua ke ea o ka ina I ka pono. The sovereignty of the land. The sovereignty, not the life. The sovereignty was intact, So I learned a lot from working over there. The title, True Sovereignty, the Akaka Bill and its implications, to me is a conflict in terms. Sovereignty, or ea, means independence. How can you actually talk about those things in the same breath? Because the Akaka Bill is a kind of demotion. It promotes a dependent nation, which is not what we were talking about. That's not what ea was. It's not what we had. I'm an anthropologist by training, and I'm on faculty at HPU, but I started teaching at UH Manoa in 1990, introductory courses. I also teach a course called Sovereignty Process and the Sacred Community, and its focus is on the history of the overall sovereignty movement, looking at trends and use of terms to describe what is happening, for example, sovereignty or ea, self-determination, independence, colonization, occupation. I don't know what you guys are hearing, but there's a lot of confusion out there about what all of these terms mean, and if there's not a context in which to put it, none of it makes any sense. So anthropology as a discipline is about providing context. And so what you hear is information coming at you all the time, from all over the place, and there's no place to put it because you don't understand what came before. This is kind of my lead up to the need to understand history, because history is the context for the dialogue. What happened? How come we're having a discussion about self-determination when we can prove, actually, that we had sovereignty, independence, and where did that shift? I teach about culture, but I also teach culture. And my interest is in how culture grounds people to place, or not. And that Hawaiians who are grounded to place are grounded because they're in it. And what happens to Hawaiians when they leave? What place are they grounded to? Certainly not this place. And where are your ancestors? And where are they buried? And what is your responsibility to them? And how is that tied into our sovereignty, our ea, our independence? I'm going to tell you a couple short stories because that's what anthropologists do. It's much quicker. About like 7 years ago, I was at the UH anthropology program or department here because there was an opening and they were interviewing all these different people for a position. And I heard this woman named Juliet McMullen talk about her research, and her question was, what does it mean to be a healthy Hawaiian? And I thought it was just the most amazing presentation. She didn't get the job. But her research, she went in a direction I never considered going. First of all, what does it mean to be healthy? And is it a Western paradigm that looks at your physical body only? And for most people, it does measure as physical. But what does it mean to be a healthy Hawaiian? Means that you have to take into account your spirituality, your culture, your ability to live and work on the land. And so what she did was she interviewed people, 3 different communities. I think one is in Orange County and 2 in Hawaii. I think one on this island, Hawaiian Coast, and one on Big Island. And what she found out was the people who lived in Orange County felt that a healthy Hawaiian was one who had a good job, good education, exercised, and ate well. And so then you're really healthy. But when she came here and talked to the people who were not doing all that well, everybody said the healthy Hawaiian was here when Captain Cook came. And we've been going downhill ever since. There's this whole idea, her assessment at the end of the book is that healthy, being healthy in the way that we describe being healthy means that there is equality in culture. And how is it the Hawaiians are not healthy? That's a question you have to ask yourselves. Okay, moving on to the next short story. For my dissertation, I interviewed Don Lewis, whom some of you may know from Perfect Title days. And I asked Don Lewis about his job. You know, he was a realtor. I think he was like one of the owners of Locations Inc., which at that time was the biggest realty company in Hawaii. I asked him about his job, and he said everybody in Hawaii knows that there's something wrong with land title. Everybody. Whether they talk about it or not, it's irrelevant. And they don't care, because they're like all caught up in doing their jobs. You want to get a piece of property, you want to sell it, you want to make your commission real quick. You don't look beyond, because if you look, you're going to see something that might disturb you, because it's going to interfere with how you live your life. Everybody in Hawaii knows something is wrong. Somehow, people participate in a kind of conspiracy of silence. And I think psychologists use that term too, what's called silence knowing, that you know something is wrong. But if you try to expose that, then what happens is you risk your livelihood. So nobody talks about it. No one talks about anything, unless it kind of like all fits in, because it's all going in a direction where you're all going to be happy. You never really have to think about history and what came before. From my point of view, the Akaka Bill is an extension of that denial, the silence knowing. The story that comes with that is in Germany. This is like, I think relatively recently, some young boy had to do a study and went home to ask his parents about the house that they lived in. He needed to do a history, and he found out from his mother that his grandfather was a guard at Auschwitz. And the house that they lived in was taken over 2 days after the people who were sent off to the camp left. And they just took it. And no one knew, or they did know, but no one talked about it until the son came home and asked the question. This is the kind of question that people need to ask. How is it that your grandpa, your great-grandpa, and all of those people came before you, how come they don't have land anymore? How come you don't? Something happened, and we all know something happened, but nobody ever wants to ask that question, because you open a door that challenges everything you think you know right now. There's a cost, you know, to seeking truth, but there's also a cost to living a lie. Hawaiians pay that cost daily in health. And I know Kekuni Blaisdell can testify to that, as well as Ka Bill, because they have been looking at this idea of generational trauma. We weren't only impacted individually. As a people, we are not well. And if people think that federal recognition is going to make us get any better, it's really about ignoring the past and building on top of a lie, one more lie. I think the Akaka Bill is an extension of that lie. But our ancestors call us all the time. They're asking us to own up to the fact that it's in our hands to fix it, because they've already passed on. They left us a kuleana. If our spiritual well-being is connected to theirs, is connected to this land, we need to be paying attention to what they're saying. On August 21st, we did that protest rally at Ala Moana, and one of the things that I understood from the organizers, what they downgraded from a celebration to a commemoration for a reason, because they know it too. People know it, no one talks about it. To continue to build on all of that somehow doesn't seem like a way to make ourselves better. We need to get well. Our wealth, our health, our well-being is tied to the well-being of this place, and to actually looking at what history offers us. It doesn't offer federal recognition. Those petitions that our ancestors signed, they didn't say they wanted to be connected to the US. And if they were alive today, they wouldn't say it. They would say that our well-being is not connected there, because in the United States does not have our land and our land well-being in its mind. That's kind of the only thing that I can come to, because I have to look at everything. You don't, because that's not your area. But my area actually requires me to look at everything, and that's like a common sense response. Thank you.